Morning all. How are we doing? Glorious day, you can see that. The sun's up, look. Looking along the end of Kyle of Lochhouse there. If we go round, you'll probably get blazed out by that sun. There we go, it's a beautiful day again, absolutely stunning. And there we go, there's the bridge over to where we're going, over to the Isles Skye. There's a ferry terminal down there. The little lighthouse down on the rocks here. Very pretty. Those mountains that you can see in the distance are on the Isles Skye, and that's where we're actually heading to the coral beaches today. Well, here we are, folks, on the Isles Skye. I did promise you some pretty spectacular views. And, well, we're not disappointed. I'm hoping that this isn't too bright for the camera. I've not used this one in this light before, not in this kind of sunshine. A glorious day it is. Absolutely glorious. Look at that. And two mountains there with the flat tops on them. It's like tabletop mountain. Mountains in the sky on Skye. Oh look, Rambo's out. Rambo's got his little toy out, look. There he is. What are you doing, Ram? Shall I give it a kick? No. Says you can get off that. That's all mine. Alright, we'll leave you alone a bit, Ramsey. We'll just go back to that bit through there in the sea, look. It's lovely. Well, we had a cold old night last night while you were looking at the view. I think it was about -5. I had to turn the heating on about 3 or 4 times last night because we were cold, and we woke up to ice inside the windscreen. Quite thick ice, not just a bit of ice. Not thick enough for your gin and tonic, but it was still quite thick. Here we are. Oh, it took a bit to get in there. So we're on our way down to Coral Beach. It's very nice. We'll take you around. Look, lovely. You hear the sound of that little stream. Now, Ramsey's on his lead because we're going through farmland at the moment. And we don't want to worry the sheep or any other cattle that might be around. It's a sunny day, as you can see. It is mildish. It's not as cold as it has been. I think that may be because we're out of the wind. I did say earlier that we had a pretty cold night last night. Anyway, we've topped the heating system up with diesel. Come on, you. We topped the heating system up with diesel because well, we don't want to run out over the next few days. Rambo's adding, we won't film that, he's adding to the farm manure. I'll have to, we'll switch it off and switch it back on while I clean that up. In the editing you'll never notice, because we won't be filming that bit. Anyway, off we go, up this pleasant track. This reminds me a little bit of a track we used to walk up as a kid in a place called Marlowe's in Pembrokeshire. I must go back to Pembrokeshire. I've not been for a while, and it is a beautiful part of the world. We'll take you to Pembrokeshire one day, I think. I'll put that in my list of many places to visit or revisit, and you'll see what I mean then. We used to walk along that track to a very secluded little beach. Come on, fella. Yeah, we got some nice mud to go through now. Good job I put me walkie booties on. Although it's quite icy, so the problem with these boots I've noticed is they are excellent walking boots. They are very expensive walking boots. They keep my feet very dry, they're very comfortable, they're very supportive, and they're very breathable. But they don't slip on ice. But that's okay, because they grip on normal surfaces. I suppose once you're aware of it, you just compensate. So, yes, that beach down to Marlowe's, it used to go down to a little secluded place. And I was only about 7 years old, I think. And we used to have to walk about a mile down to this beach. And it was worth it. I remember one of my memories is I remember seeing a grass snake. The first time I'd ever seen a steak. That probably was the first time I'd seen a steak and all. First time I ever saw a snake. God almighty. And I thought of course it was an adder, but it wasn't. It was just a little old slow worm grass snake. I don't know if there's a difference between them two. Anyway, right. Back to the here and now. In the very distance there, off of that head, is the Isles of Harris. I'm not sure whether you're going to see them. If not, then I'm going to edit it out. But that is the Isles of Harris. What I was hoping for, what I'm kind of hoping for on this trip, I'll let you know if I do find one. I would like to be the light side, this way, remember, the light side of a lighthouse. Because I would like to take a picture of the lighthouse in light, of course, as it flashes. But I would like that flash. What I was trying to do, and I have done it before, but it was a while ago now, is to, as it flashes, it creates a star effect, and that's a trick you can do with the camera. I'll go through the settings on that when I finally get to doing it, it'll probably take quite a bit of experimenting, because last night when I took Rambo out for his final ablutions, the full moon was out over the mountain and it was a beautifully clear night, so I got the camera out. I will put the photo in, and I spent about 10 minutes at least trying to work out how to take a picture of the moon, and it was all by trial and error. In the end I got there and I got a really nice good picture of the moon, which, as I said, I'll pop in for you. Don't expect it to be a huge moon, because it's not. It was only taken with a normal, relatively normal lens in the camera. I'll tell you what that lens is when I get to it. And anyway, that's what I want to do with a lighthouse. So again, it will probably take me a bit of but you know, sometimes that's half of the enjoyment of photography, is experimenting, and finally you get the picture you want. And the good thing is, I mean, with my camera, you can it records the settings, so you can go back and you can reuse those settings, of course, because once you've established what they are, you can very often reuse them. There will be some tolerances in between, and there will be some tolerance where you can't use them. I'm looking down at these rocks and wondering to myself if there's any mussels down there, because if there is, they'll be in my belly tonight, but I don't think there is. It looks just like a load of seaweed. I'll have a venture down to some rocks in a bit Now I can see the path in the distance there. I can see some people on the brow of the hill up there. So I'm assuming that the white sandy beach, the coral beach, is over the other side there, on the northern side, facing north. Now, we looked at what I call them flat mountains earlier on. They're actually called the Three Chimneys. I don't know much more about them than that. If I find out some more, I'll add it in, because I might be going up that way for my night stopover tonight. I don't know yet, I haven't made my mind up. Anyway, yes, the Three Chimneys, I can see why. With them being sort of, they're sort of straight up and flat on the top, a bit like a chimney. Now, they belong to the Scottish National Trust, and if there's a Scottish National Trust car park up there, that's probably where I'll be stopping the night, because the Scottish National Trust, as long as you're a member, allow you to stay the night on their car parks. Whether that is all car parks or not, I don't know, but we'll find out later on. There's lots of other options. Looks like an old croft here. Yeah, 3 foot wall, 3 foot thick stone walls. Right at the end there, you can see the outline of an old chimney. You probably had a fireplace in it where they cooked and kept the whole thing warm. It's not very big, but it's bigger than my van. Maybe they just farmed this little piece of headland here. It's a very peaceful place to be, even more peaceful if these people would bugger off. Anyway, they won't, so we're stuck with them, I'm afraid. Oh, come on, Ramsey, onwards and upwards, lad. Onwards and upwards. Well, there we go, we got our first sight of the coral beach. It is very white. There's a small island off it somewhere. That's funny how that's all white there. Look, it's all black. All old volcanic black rock. And then that beach goes white down there. How weird. So that's the island. That is the little island there, which we're not going to be able to get to. You can go over to it, but only at low tide, and clearly it's not low enough, and it is coming in. Come on, Rambo, come on, fella. So we'll have to give that a miss today. That's a shame. I was hoping to get on that. Never mind. There you can see in the distance now, right between the island and the head sticking out, you can just about make out a lump in the, for want of a better word, in the sea, and that is part of the islands of Harris. And if you look across the top of the island again, you can see the Isles of Harris. You can actually see, or I can see, a couple of what look like ferries going in and out of the island. It's lovely and still. I don't know if you can hear this bird song, so I'm going to shut up a minute. Or others. My sound skills, my audio skills. Sounds better, doesn't it? Sounds right posh, that does now. Anyway, we might be able to make it sound louder. That's the important bit, isn't it? So we're just going to do a quick scoot across to the island. I'm going to stop walking so you can hear them birds. I think they put on a bit of a display then for us. This only went really loud. I think there's a whole huddle of them. Is that the right word for a flock of birds? No, it's a flock of them. Anyway, they're flocking and huddling, and they're making one hell of a row. They're probably telling me off. I'm not sure what sort of birds they are, but if I can get to see them a bit closer on my camera later on. They've got red bills. Yeah, let's extend it out a bit. We might be able to get that later on. They have red bills, they have white breast, and they have black wings. And Rambo's gone for a paddle. Look, he loves it in there. Go on, you. If I can put up what it is, what they are, then maybe some kind viewer will let me know exactly what they are. They've all gone, so all that bluster was warning me away. There's obviously an absolute abundance of food in these shells for them. We aren't going to stay long over here, simply because I don't know where. I got a funny feeling the tide's on its way in, and whilst my boots are waterproof, we don't want to test them over the top of the boots. So some of these shells look quite fresh. Rambo. So in these waters, I suppose there's a couple of lovely little birds just flew off. A bird watcher's paradise, I imagine. Yeah, I forgot where I was. Yes, I imagine if you had a spade or something, and I do have a little garden fork in my van for such occasions. I bet you could dig in the loose sand here and probably pull out a few of these, well, whatever they are, and they would make good eating. I don't think there's that much in the sea that you can't eat. Best ask the French on that. No offence, but they'll eat anything that wriggles. That's lovely. That's lovely again. I keep telling you how lovely it is, isn't it? I suppose it's because it is, and I can't help myself. I suppose if you don't like it, you won't watch. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that just spectacular? There you are. There's a new word. Spectacular. And back round to the beach. That's phenomenal. It really is a full 360-degree view. There's a few razor clams down here as well. Always good when you look at this stuff. If you go sea fishing, it gives you an indication of what the fish are eating as well. Because obviously they will eat this stuff just the same as the birds will. Come out, Rambo. He's dying to get in there, and the only thing is he'll get in, he'll go up too deep, he'll get it all in his fur, and then he'll end up cold for the rest of the day. But he is enjoying himself. Come here. Do you want to get off your lead a minute? Come here, let's let him off his lead. Come here. I don't think there's any cows on here, is there, lad? Or sheeps. Look at that. Look at him, straight in, look. Oh well, he's going to be cold. He'll start barking. There you go, right on cue. He is crackers. B.A. Caracas. B.A. Caracas he is. He's doing his fake swimming. He's not deep enough to swim, but his little paws think he is, so he does his doggy paddle walk. Yeah, I'm going to leave you to that noise, Rambo, while I walk around here, lad. Unfortunately, that gets on my nerves. That's enough now. Come on, this way. You'll be scaring everything off. What we found there. Oh, look. Yeah, that's interesting. Look at that. Look at that. I don't know whether that's a piece of old bone, whether that's a piece of old shoulder bone or something out of the sea. I think it's a piece of shoulder bone or something. Can you see that? What a weird thing. Mind you, that's like a piece of art, isn't it? I suppose if you got an imagination, you could paint that up or something and turn it into an ornament. Anyway, down it goes. Where we got it from, almost. It's amazing what you can find on a beach if you look around. Keep your head to the floor. We're walking through all this kelp at the moment, this bladder. I think it's called bladderwort or bladder. No, it's not bladderwort. It's bladder something or other. And it gets its name from all these little air sacs. All those little bubbles there are air sacs. And that's what makes it float when the tide comes in. Rambo, quiet please. That's what makes it float when the tide comes in. Have a little look at something interesting here. This has got a foot on it, look. Oh, excuse me. That's a piece of weed, look. Here we are, a piece of weed. Not the blue pole, that's my walking stick. And that is the foot end. That's the foot end of it there. And it grips onto that to latch onto the sea. And they've all got those, I suppose they're roots, the same as any other plant. But they latch onto things so that they can stabilise themselves in the sea. There's an old net in there, look. Old fishing net. There's a typical one, look, that's laying down. It looks dead at the moment, but when that sea comes in, there you go, you can see the root where my foot is. When the sea comes in, it's just underwater, it's like a little garden, all this stuff. Rambo, can you please stop? If ever there was a boy enjoying themselves, look at that. He's on his holidays. Oh, come on now, this way. Come on, this way. It's alright, I'm not fetching you out yet. Come on, this way. He's loving it. It's nice to see him doing it when he's not making that god-awful barking row. So we got lucky there that we could get across to the island. Oh, can you see them birds there? Look. I don't know what they are either. Look at that. Wow. So the other day, losing track of days, I think it was yesterday actually, I'm saying the other day, we saw some mountain goats. We saw two mountain goats, obviously parents, because they had 5 kids. Now they are on film, they're not easy to see, but you'll see them in one of the videos. And we saw, well, I don't know if you know this yet, but anyway, we saw some deer up on Glencoe 2 or 3 days ago now. You do lose track of time when you're on these adventures, you know, on these journeys, because you forget where you've been, because you kind of get focused on where you're going, and you forget sometimes the day. You don't forget where you've been, you forget when you went there. That would be nice if a sea eagle, a white-tailed sea eagle, popped its head up somewhere in the sky. I don't think we're going to be that lucky. You never know though, you don't know, because it does happen. They are about in Scotland now. I don't know if they're as prolific as they are on mainland Europe, but they have been reintroduced to Scotland, and they are about in Scotland. Okay folks, that's a wrap for this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. Next week we are off to somewhere pretty special, so you really don't want to miss out on that one. If you like what you see, please give us a like and a subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.